Hey y'all, Betty with Birthmark here. I'm here with a new Declare the Day message for you titled Do Not Fear, Do Not Be Afraid. Okay, and this is being brought to you by our Manifest Your Best Challenge. If you have not joined this challenge, it's not too late. You can start today and start from day one. Okay, I started the challenge at the new year on January 1st for myself. I love taking a challenge. There's 7 core habits that I talk about. And although I host this challenge, I haven't completely tackled every single one of them, right? Some of the core habits are still a challenge for me. So I hope that people that are doing the challenge with me in these 30 days aren't thinking that I've got it all together. I have the 7 core habits down pat. No, this is still a challenge for me. And that's what I love. That's why I love doing it. Okay. So if you haven't joined it, you are missing out because there really has been some incredible messages that I've gotten that I've shared through these 30 days. And so, again, it's not too late. You can still join. You can join today. I will drop the link somewhere around here or in the description. But yeah, feel free to join and start and go at your pace. But start today. It's about life change. It's about transformation. I don't really do resolutions. Um, I really am about committing to habits that will change my life and change and transform my life. And so that's what the Manifest Your Best Challenge is about. It's about life transformation. Okay, so join if you haven't joined. But today's Declare the Day message is around the words do not fear, do not be afraid. These words appear hundreds of times, okay, in the Bible, hundreds of times. So why do you think it was necessary for those words to kind of be on repeat so much in one book? And I think it's because it is a, it's not a natural emotion, but it's one of the primary emotions that we default to. It's one of the primary emotions that we default to as humans. The Bible says that God did not give us the spirit of fear. So it's not a natural emotion. But it is a primary one that we default to quite often. But the only thing that we should be fearful of is God. That's the only thing. That's the only thing we are instructed to be fearful of. And there's a difference even there, because fear of God is not like being terrified, right? It's not like we're instructed to be terrified of God, but it's more of honoring and having reverence for God. That's the type of fear that we're instructed to have. But otherwise, do not fear, do not be afraid. Those are the words that are constantly repeated. Here's some of my favorite scriptures. Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Psalm 23:4. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for God is with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Psalm 27:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Deuteronomy 3:22. Do not be afraid of them. The Lord your God himself will fight for you. This is the last one I'll do. Judges 6:23. But the Lord said to him, peace. Do not be afraid. You are not going to die. That's one of my favorite ones, y'all. I love that part. You are not going to die. It's not going to kill you. I hear there's a prophetess that I follow, Tiffany Montgomery, and she says this a lot when we are fasting. She says it when we're fasting, and she often says, yes, you're going to get headaches. Yes, your body's going to feel faint and fatigued. Yes, your body's going to rebel. Your flesh is going to rebel. You may feel lightheadedness. You may get headaches, but you are not going to die. You will not die. Fasting is not going to kill you. And there's usually a few core issues that drive our fear. There's a few core things that sort of drives fear in us. And there's 4 specifically I'll talk about. One is fear of failing. So a lot of times we fear not succeeding in what we're doing or what we're planning to do or attempting to do. So there's a fear of failing and not getting it right. Right? So that's something that's usually at the core root of the fear that we may feel. Another is, and this is one that I've really had to work on within myself and learn how to overcome. And that's fear of what other people think and say. Oh, that's a big one. Fear of what other people will think and say is usually at the root of us feeling feeling fear. Got to get over. I've had to learn how to not care. I've had to learn how to not give a doggone about what people think and say, because most of the time they're off. Most of the time they're wrong. Most of the time they have no clue. Most of the time they ain't got no idea. God didn't give them the vision. God didn't give them the go. God didn't give them the strategy. And there's a reason why they didn't give it to them. Right? There's a reason why. Because he knew they wouldn't be able to execute. Because either they don't have the mindset to execute, they don't have the heart to execute, they don't have the trust in God to execute. God gave it to you because you're a doer, because you're an executor, because he knows you will get it done. He knows that, yeah, it might take a little work, but this one right here, she's going to do what I say. He's going to do what I say. So there's a reason God gave it to you and not them. So I've had to learn how to not care about what people think. At the end of the day, God is the only one who's going to be asking and questioning what I did with my time, what I did with my purpose here on earth. He's the only one I got to answer to. So I've learned to care about what God says and thinks, not people, not man. All right. And I'm not saying the Bible does tell us wisdom. One of the keys to wisdom is being surrounded by good counsel. So I'm not saying you don't need people in your life who are, who you can run things by, because that's important. You need that. But the masses, a lot of times what's at the core of our fear is caring about what the majority of people are going to think and say. Don't be concerned with that. Learn how to not give a doggone about what the other people got to say and what they think. Okay, the third thing that's usually at the core or at the root of us feeling fear is similar to the one I mentioned before. Not being liked or being rejected or being ridiculed. It's kind of similar to just caring about what people think and say. We have a fear of people not liking us. How people will respond. That's such a big driver of our fear, is just being concerned about how other people will respond. And then lastly, one of the biggest issues that's at the core or at the root of fear in us is fear of dying. Fear of dying. That thing, whatever we're fearful of, that thing is going to take us out. It's going to be the end. My biggest fear, and I pray that God, I keep praying that God releases me of this fear, that I release myself of this fear. My biggest fear in life is snakes. Ooh, child. And I live in the South, okay? I'm so terrified of snakes. I don't ever want to see one. I don't ever want to encounter one. Just talking about it right now. I'm in my house. I'm in the comforts of my house. And just talking about it creates this emotion within me, this fear. Because I just know if I ever encounter one, and I have, I just know that if I encounter them, that's going to be the end of me. It's going to take me out. That's what my mind thinks. That it's going to be the end. It's just that snake is just going to take me out. I'm just done. And I'm an outdoors person, y'all. I love being outdoors. I love being outside. I love being in nature. I love being by water. I love to go on hikes. I love walking and just admiring nature. I love these things. But usually when I'm doing these things, somewhere in my mind, I'm thinking about, what if a snake crosses my path? It's usually in my mind. And I'm just like, Lord, please spare me this. Please spare me to not, I don't want to have to deal with this. I don't want to have to see none. I just don't want to see it. Right? But I am learning how to, a lot of times when I'm out and I'm walking and I'm out in nature, what I am learning, and y'all can see, I'm just talking about it just creates anxiety within me. But I'm learning to speak to that fear, right? Speak to the core issue. So instead of just exacerbating my fear, instead of exacerbating it, I speak to the root of it, which is a fear that I'm gonna die. That's the root. That's what's at the root of my fear of snakes. So I have to speak to it, and I have to speak Judges 6:23 to it. You are not going to die. If you see or encounter a snake, you will not die, Betty. It is not going to kill you. It is not the end of you. So I have learned how to speak to the core issue. And that's what you have to do, is speak to the root. Figure out whatever it is you're feeling fearful of in that moment. Figure out what's at the root of it. Is it a fear of failing? Is it a fear of how other people are going to respond? Or is it a fear of dying? Which one of those? And speak to the root of it. I'm not going to fail. If I am walking with God, if I'm walking in alignment with God, God is not failure. God does not fail. He does not send his children to fail. So if I'm walking with him and in alignment with him, I'm not going to fail. Speak to the root. I'm not going to fail. I will be successful. I will be prosperous in this thing. It's going to work out for my good. Speak to the issue. I don't care about what other people think. I'm here to serve my God. I'm here to serve my purpose. I don't care about what other people think. I don't care about how they respond. And finally, and most importantly, I will not die. This thing will not kill me. It will not be the end of me. Even if there's lessons learned along the way, these are lessons that I need to get to the top, to get to where I'm going. I need these lessons. So I will not be afraid of the lessons that are learned along the way, but I will not die. It will not kill me. So that's the importance. It's important to identify what the core root is that's driving your fear, and speak to that thing. Today's declaration is straightforward. It's pretty simple. Here it is. I am no longer afraid because I trust God. I am no longer afraid because I trust God. And you can fill in the blank. I am no longer afraid of blank because I trust God. Whatever your blank is, whatever that thing is, fill it in. Or you could just leave it as a blanket statement. I am no longer afraid because I trust God. All right, that's the declaration. So next time you feel fear of whatever, I am no longer afraid because I trust God. All right, y'all, that's your declaration for today. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.